All right. Well, Marieli, welcome to our space, the student IO student meetup. I'm really, really glad that you had the time and you were able to work with me and get this organized and whatnot. I I don't know if I told you how this got started. Did I share that with you?
No.
Okay, so a little bit of context as to how this group got started. Whenever I was going through my master's program, I didn't know because I'm a first generation student. I didn't know that we needed to do certain things like internships and find mentorships and things like that. So I kind of struggled a little bit. And then I realized that that wasn't like a common experience for a lot of students. So I kind of offered to provide kind of this space with SEBOC to have a space for students to come and talk to practitioners or talk to each other or just make connections to share that story and that experience as we go through school. And sometimes we don't know what's the best thing. So some of the cool things that have come out of this is having people really share resources and opportunities and internships. And I know some people have been able to um, have different experiences as a result of coming and connecting and just getting to know each other. So I think it's a really cool space, and I'm really glad that you have the time to come and do this. And I know that part of us meeting today was to help you support each other in helping you find someone for the CBOC in Spanish. So I think it'll be a cool opportunity for whoever is interested if they think it's somewhat of a fit. But that's a little bit of the background of how this space got started, and it's super laid back. For those of you that just joined us, know that you can send us questions, use the chat, or unmute yourself, or raise your little virtual hand, however you feel comfortable. If none of those options feel comfortable, you can always message me on LinkedIn. And then if you have any questions that you want us to answer while we're here, just send it to us and then we'll go ahead and address that. But again, this is an open conversation, so feel free to step in if you want to. So Marieli, can you share with us who you are, what you do, and why are you here?
Sure. So my name is Marieli Rodriguez. I'm from Puerto Rico. Right now I'm in Houston, but I usually stay in Puerto Rico. And basically, I have a doctor degree in PhD, Industrial Organizational Psychology from the Carlos Albizu University in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And basically, right now, I'm transitioning to a new job opportunity. I'm constantly seeking for a new job that I can pursue so I can put my abilities in use
Mhm.
right now. And as you mentioned, I started with Deborah, our colleague from here from SEBOC too. I meet Deborah in the university too, and we took some classes together. But we start what we call SEBOC in Español. It's
Mhm.
basically a SEBOC, but it's in Spanish. We went to have the opportunity to do the some things that you guys are doing in the civil community, but with the Spanish people, speaking Spanish people that are in the U.S. or in other parts of the Latin America, South America, or even Puerto Rico,
Mhm.
because we know the importance of having a community. And in Puerto Rico, we don't have like a community, especially for the IOs. We have the general psychology association, but there are so many fields on the psychology uh,
Mhm.
career that we want to have that only for IOs. So we met someday and spoke about that, and
Mhm.
we reached out to Jeremy, and he was thrilled. So that's how Civil in Español started back on August last year.
Oh my gosh, it's been a year already.
Yes, we have like a 4 month in the row that we were constantly put information out there and
Mhm.
everything. And this year we are making through because Deborah has to step out, so we are I am currently now seeking for more people that are interested in the space and can collaborate. Basically, we use have interview with HR professionals or IO professionals.
Mhm.
Also, we have a newspaper that come monthly and a blog, and we have different topics. And my what I want to do now is put information there
Mhm.
about what IO can do uh,
Mhm.
for a company or for the different companies that are with solopreneurs or other companies that are established already.
So, how did you get to where you're at now? What was your experience becoming an IO and trying to figure out what you wanted to do? Was that easy? Did you have an idea?
Everything started for I was a bank teller. I worked for a bank here
Hmm.
there in Puerto Rico about for 8 years, and I started as a bank teller. And in that particular position, I saw that the employees were not treated like they're supposed to.
Hmm.
I always think that the most important part of our company is their employees, because without employees the company doesn't run. So I saw that some things can change. So I was already looking for a new topic to pursue a master's, because I graduate from the bachelor's, and I was looking for a topic that I wanted to explore more about. And when that part came into my reality, so I started looking, and I found the industrial organizational psychology. So I think, wow, this is like perfect, because I knew about HR, but for me, always HR is like the more technical stuff,
Hmm.
not really the human stuff. And the industrial organizational psychology give me the opportunity to connect more from the human part of the work.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I really want to come back to the opportunity that we're here to discuss, but I'm always curious as to how people get into IO. A lot of people that have joined us in this space either have come from like we had our first guest of the year. She had a chemistry background, and she found that she could bring IO and her chemistry background together and create, and I mean, her mind, the way that she thinks is just incredible. And it's always interesting how sometimes we have a very different background and then we start to notice something in the company and we're like, hold on, that doesn't seem right. What can I do to fix
Yeah.
it? And that's how we get just pulled into IO. So that's always interesting to me. How do people end up here?
No, and my bachelor's degree is in hotel and restaurant administration. So it's a completely different scenario. But
Mhm.
when I finished my master and continued to the PhD, I started working with a restaurant right away. So it was for me like full circle,
Mhm.
because I always want to work in the hospitality industry, and that I have the opportunity to start working as a coach with a restaurant was everything.
That's amazing. Do you find that that experience helps you now as an IO?
What
Like
the
hospitality?
sorry?
Do you feel like the hospitality background helps you as an IO now? How give you a different perspective?
Mm, yeah, absolutely. I When I was in the bachelor's degree, I have the opportunity to work in Disney
Mhm.
uh, as, as a housekeeper. So, yeah, I always found interesting how the companies treat the employees, and in that particular job,
Mhm.
was very important to me to saw everything about the company and how the company treats the employee, and
Mm.
how much is expected from a housekeeper in a company that big, like it's with Disney. So work together, like the kitchen and the servers work together better because there was a miscommunication and it was affecting the clientele.
That's just it's really interesting that it doesn't matter what kind of job that we usually do. I feel like a lot of my skills that I learned as a waitress really come in handy when I'm dealing with all kinds of different people, just being able to connect and find those common grounds. So I feel like it really doesn't matter what we've done in the past as long as we're able to bring all of those skills and all of those observations, and then we use it in a way that's going to help us, like you said, really just create a place where we treat people better and in a different way.
Yeah, and that's our motto for SEBOC in Spanish. In Spanish is make the hacer el mundo de trabajo uno mejor, is make the work of work a better one. So that is our our motto
Mhm.
because it's possible. The workplace is where we basically spend the most of our day, and the office or in remote. It doesn't matter the setting, but it's like we are spending most of our day and our lives working. So why we need to be like, oh, I need to go to work? No, it can be different.
It can be a good experience, and I think you're right. I feel like a lot of what drew me into this work is the fact that we do spend a lot of time working, and depending on our situation, sometimes we have more than one job, and it's just that's all we do. So being able
Mhm.
to say I like my job and I feel safe in my job, that's I feel like a pretty big difference from just having to, like you said, feel like I got to go to work and I don't want to go. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and us as IOs can make that different too, working with the procedures and the politics and everything to facilitate that spaces in the industries.
yep, we're pretty much needed everywhere.
Exactly.
So tell us about what is it that you do in SEBOC en Español? What is it that you're looking for in people who may be interested in joining you in this project?
Basically, right now, I would like to have people that wants to speak about the industrial and organizational psychology.
Mhm.
I'm thinking for the blogs that have different types of topics like the uh, onboarding or recruitment and stuff like us as IOs can contribute to a company or help with it. So if you like to participate or you like a topic so much that you want to speak about, use the SEBOC en Español platform to do that.
Mhm.
We have a newsletter and we have an email. Let me put that in the chat right here. So if everyone is interested in that, you can message me or find me on LinkedIn. So we can start talking and make arrangements. So your information or what you want to put out of the world can be done through SEBOC.
That is so true. I feel like a lot of my really good connections that I've made and some experiences that I've gained is through doing things like this, projects that get me out of my comfort zone, that maybe I may feel like, I don't know if I can do this, but then you get in there and you get some guidance and then you get it done and you get that experience. What do you think would be good for people or for students or whoever's interested for them to know before reaching out to you?
Well, SEBOC in Español is in Spanish. So the part of the beauty of it is that we like to speak about this topic, but only in Spanish.
Mhm.
If you only speak English, is that okay? But we need to will be transcribing that to Spanish because the main focus of the page and the project is to speak more about the IO in Spanish and
Mhm.
get the word out there for the Hispanic community in the US and through all Latin America.
That's awesome. So what if maybe someone's interested, but they may not, maybe they feel like they don't have enough experience, or is there anything specific that you are looking for people to have as part of experience, or do you just want people to feel like interested and want to reach out?
No, only if you are studying IO or you're interested in that field. That's the main like particular uh, thing that I will ask.
Mm.
Are you studying a student, active student in the field, or are you a graduate? We can be, or you are a professional too. We don't need only students. I'm seeking for individuals that love the field and want to be and want to help to make up the field of the work a better one.
And accessible too.
Yes,
I think sometimes when I read something in Spanish, I'm like, ah, okay, that makes sense.
exactly. Yeah. And put the word out there because now I think that the IO field is growing up, but it's still like some people always tell me, what's that? Ah, you work in HR? Basically, yes, but we are not HR. So it can help too so the people can understand more what we are doing and what we can do for you and the companies.
Yeah. So if someone was to be interested, but they're curious about how many hours a week is this going to require, or what is it that they're going to have to invest, time wise or project wise?
Time wise, basically, right now I only seeking for like blogs. I'm going to put their blogs and newsletters. So maybe the time that take the person to write something because there's one a month, so it's going to be one blog a month and one newsletter. So once I get the information, that will be put out in the SEBOC page. So hour wise, it's going to depend
Mm.
how much the person need to write something. So
Okay.
it can be 2 hours or 6 hours, but it really depends.
So depending on, and it can be any given day, doesn't have to be a specific day, other than the deadline for when it needs to be published.
Exactly. Yeah. Usually we publish at the end of the month, each month. So
Mm.
maybe the first 3 weeks is going to be like the deadline.
Okay. So whenever I've worked in different projects where I've been able to write different things, and sometimes they add my name and sometimes they claim it as their own. And even though it's never been paid, right, they just don't kind of give you credit. How does that work for anybody who would write something for CBOC in Espanol?
That's a great question. I always want to put the name of the person there because like it's going to be like a contribution. So the contributor of this writing is going to be, or it's Stephanie or Roger. So I in the university I have the opportunity to work in a magazine, the Her Campus magazines. So we always put the name of the writer. So it's going to be through the page of CBOC, but you are going to be able to share that and your name is going to be there.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I feel like that sometimes if you're a good writer, that can definitely just showcase what you can do. Um, I don't know if I'm a good writer, but I like to think that I am. But I remember sending some like really good pieces and then like not seeing my name, and I'm like, ah, I really work hard for that. So I'm glad that you're able to put that out there for people who's interested.
Yes.
Um, I had a question around like what kind of topics have you already written about? What's the feedback? Have you received any feedback on those that are already going out?
Yes. We already spoke about the difference from coaching, consulting, and let me see real quick, and mentoring. We also had a conversation with a HR professional and an IO, and mm, it spoke about the roles in both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we already spoke about We have already four topics that we let me put that here very quick.
Marieli, while you're doing that, Roger and Stephanie, if you feel like you have questions, if you want to know anything specific that we haven't talked about, please feel free to send us an email. And if anybody, or a message, and if anybody is watching this after we've recorded this, feel free to reach out to us in a message, and then we'll answer whatever question. Probably Mariela is going to be the best one to ask, but if you feel comfortable, you can send me, and then I'll direct you over to her.
So the first episode that we had, and we have a YouTube page too through SEBOC. So if you want to saw all the videos, you can go SEBOC en Español through YouTube, and you can find us there. We have already 4 episodes there, and the first one was about who are SEBOC in that time, Deborah and I, and what we are proposing with SEBOC en Español. The second one was about the topic that this is like a current question that the people don't want to work, and the key strategies to retain and the talent in the organizations. And then in November, we spoke about the coaching, mentoring, and consulting part, and the difference of that 3 topics, that they are not the same. And on December, we spoke with the HR and the IO professional. And it was a fun interview because each one put the topics on the table and how the 2 professions are related in the HR department.
Yeah. That's got to be fun. I feel like sometimes people do get that confused a lot, and it's like, no, there's different focus, and it's a different way of looking at maybe the same thing, but there's way to different perspectives. So that's cool. I haven't watched that one, so maybe I'm going to go back and do it now. But so you're also looking for like people to, sorry, I'm outside and there's like mosquitoes everywhere. Are you also looking for people to propose maybe some topics that can be talked about?
Sure. Yeah, I already have a list of things that maybe we want to spoke about, like job descriptions, evaluations, structure interviews, organizational development, change development, psychological safety. I love that topic. The cycle of the employee onboarding too. So I'm like trying to read out all the topics on all the possible scenarios that an IO can work in the industry. So that's basically what I have right now.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So those are really good. We did get a question from Stephanie, and I hope it's okay if I read this out loud, but I think Marieli could give us some good insight into this. So Stephanie's going to, I don't have my glasses, a master's program for IO this upcoming fall. And awesome, thank you. And she was wondering what advice you have for incoming graduate students. Additionally, out of curiosity, is there a lot of flexibility within the field? Can you work in one field but switch to a different one easily? So I'll let you answer, and then I can go and give my 2 cents.
Okay, for the graduate students, I always try to recommend that you really need to love this, because it can be hard sometimes, but if you really love the topics and help people, because for me, IO at the end is to help people in the organization. But it's like the base is helping people, and have that clear in your mind. If you really love to help people, you are going to be okay. But if it's not the case, maybe you have a little bit of trouble at the beginning, but you already done a master, so you really know what topics are the most that you're interested in. and how you can move through that in the organization.
That's a really good insight. I think for me, what comes to mind when I read that is learning like from the get-go. I wish I would have known this. Like when you graduate and you get a job and you're out there looking for a job, a lot of times it's not going to say IO. Like the roles that you're going to be looking for, it's not going to say we need an IO for this. So from the get-go is learning to and having discussions with professors. How does this show up in the workplace? Yeah, I'm learning theory and I'm learning strategy and I'm learning IO, whatever, but how does this look like in real life? Where do I see this if I'm working in training department or if I'm working in recruitment? Like, how do I use this IO perspective and kind of from the beginning, bring in that perspective with you and everything that you do. So when you get a job, after you're like, this doesn't have anything to do with what I studied. And a lot of times it does, which is we're not trained to look for it. And I think we miss that on a lot of really good work that we can do. Because sometimes now there's a lot of people that hire IOs. They don't know how to
Mhm.
use us. So we have to know what we bring to the table so people can really take advantage of our talents and what we come with. Um,
Yes. Also for me, when I look the job descriptions, if I understand a lot of the things that they are looking for, I know that is a IO uh, responsibilities like change management or working with recruitment and the job posting and
mhm,
communication skills. And there are some words that you can identify and you are going to know like that, oh, that's an IO job. Because I have the experience once the job was a HR generalist. But
mhm,
when I saw everything, I I I was like this is a IO job description. And
mhm,
when I went in the interview, I said that to the recruiter, and she said, "Yeah, that is what we're looking for." But in the job description, in there was no work like you have to be experienced or have the education in industrial psychology. Now we see more the organizational psychology,
mhm.
but there was no word in the job description for that.
Yep.
So you, as an IO student or a IO graduate, you are going to be able to see the words and saw that okay, I can do this because it's what I learned.
Yeah, that is so true. And I think you're able to kind of identify what is which one's which. Um, for me, it helped to do a couple internships. I started really late and I did the internship super late at the end of my master's program. But if you can start early and start to figure out this I do like, this I don't like,
Like,
then
yeah,
that really guides what kind of job descriptions you're looking for, because you develop those skills and then it makes sense that you want to do HR related, IO-ish, or you want to do more on the change management, which is still IO, but it's a different perspective and it's a different kind of job role. But I think the internships, the job descriptions, I would say even like having mentors and having
yeah.
people to talk,
Hmm.
figure out how does this connect with what I'm doing. Because I really thought I'm gonna go get a master's and I'm gonna graduate and I'm gonna get a job and it'll be great. And it is not. It's a struggle to get people to understand what you can do and then help you yourself understand through the help of conversations and community to figure out, okay, yeah, this is something I want to do, and this is something I don't.
Yeah. And also for me, it's like have a clear mind that it's usually that you are going to start at the bottom of the department. So you are going to start working as an entry level. So for me, that is perfect because the more in the down of the hierarchy I work, the better because for me, it's like the more I can learn about the company and all the roles, but not everybody is the same. I know colleagues that they don't want an entry level work has a when they are finishing a PhD, and that's okay. But if you don't mind, be open to that too.
And I think I was a substance abuse counselor for almost like 10 years before I switched careers, which I think this is going to answer your last one. I was a substance abuse counselor and I did that for a long time. And I thought, well, I've been in this career, like I'm not going to start all over, right? Like some of this is going to
Mhm.
transfer. And it did and it didn't. It did in the sense of like I have communication skills. I have different skills that help me while I'm doing the job, but because it's a different field for me, I have to like stop it, get away from me. I had to like really start from the bottom, from like the basics, which felt like I was starting a whole new career, which I am. But I came in with that idea of like, oh, I'm not at the beginning of this. I'm like somewhere up here, and it's like no, I had to, with the help of my colleagues and just people that are surrounded me, helping me understand. You have to learn everything all over again from a different perspective because I'm not a counselor anymore. Like that's not the same role when I'm doing this. Um,
Mhm.
so I think there's to answer the second one, out of if there's a lot of flexibility within the field, switching from one to a different one, I think you can. You just have to be very. For me, was that humility aspect of like I don't know what I'm doing, and that's okay, and I have to learn
Mhm.
everything again, and have to ask for a lot of help. But it is possible. What are your thoughts on flexibility?
Yeah, and I also say had compassion for yourself because you have you have to learn new skills and you are going to learn how to navigate other workplace that maybe is new, but it's temporary. You are not going to be a rookie forever.
Yeah, that is true. And
So
be okay with making mistakes.
yeah,
It's uncomfortable, but that's how you grow.
exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. She said thank you so much. She really
You're
appreciates
welcome.
advice. So, how do you want people to reach out to you? Is there like a specific way that you rather do you want to interview people before? What would be like the process of getting involved with SEBOC en Español?
Okay, we have a newsletter, so go there and seboc.com/Spanish and subscribe to the newsletter if you are interested in receive all the information that we are going to be publishing. But if you are if you are interested in be part of the CBOC community and to write and be active, you can email me. There is the email cbocespanol@gmail.com. Also, you can find me on LinkedIn. I appear as Marieli Rodriguez and chat with me, send me a message, and we are going to start there. And yeah, maybe we have like a little bit of chit chat, so I can know better the person and know how they are interested and how they think they can contribute to the space.
Okay, awesome. Do you have an expectation of commitment? Do you like, or well, once you decide this is going to be a good collaboration, do they have to commit to a specific time or a specific amount of blogs that they would have to?
At the moment, no. I'm only thinking that it's one per month, so we are going to have like 12 in the month in the year, but this year maybe we have 6 or 7.
Mhm.
So once you select the month, that was it. If you want to write again, but you have another month to write, but at the moment, it's going. The flexibility is very uh, big for now.
Yeah. Awesome. Is there anything that I haven't asked about that you really need people to know? Either about yourself, about your experience, about SEBOC en Español.
And no, I think no, we spoke everything that I have here. I have like a notes. So we basically go through all the points. And yeah, I'm so excited that we can meet new people and have this space so we can spoke about Civil en Español and get the word out there.
Yes, I know. I think one of the I met Deborah I don't even know when I met her, but we got on a call and we talked, and I think we talked before when she was barely coming up with the idea. And later, like I started to see all of the things popping up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's such a cool resource again, because for people like me who sometimes need to read things in their native language is such a cool resource to have. It's just accessible, it makes sense. And then I'm
Mhm.
able to kind of process that and present it in a, because I feel like that gives you a different perspective when you read things in different languages. I feel like it gives you a different perspective because of the cultural perspective of that as well. So
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, it clicks differently when we read it in our native language besides the other language that we speak.
That is so cool. I recently did a presentation with one of my colleagues and translated the essence of, for us, was the model, trauma informed model that we work with. But we talked about that because she's from Puerto Rico and I'm from Mexico. And even though we both speak Spanish, it's not the same Spanish. And
Mhm.
able to really coin the conversation around our cultural relevance. So even little things like that that just bring us together to have those conversations and learn from each other, I think are really awesome opportunities, especially as IOs. I think that's
Mhm.
such a cool perspective and space.
Yeah, and that is so important too because here in Puerto Rico we have it's more in the clinical side, but they use so many English assessments, and are some that are in Spanish, but or are taken from a Mexican author, and there are words that don't mean the same.
Mhm.
A good example is the orange color. In Puerto Rico, we say chinita, not orange. So
Oh,
if a kid is maybe is reading or is taking the assessment and saw naranja,
uh-huh.
there is not going to relate that naranja is like chinita in Spanish
Yeah.
for from us in Puerto Rico. So things like that are so important.
And I think, and I don't know if, I don't know, maybe this is a whole new conversation of maybe, I don't know, but I think in the work that we do as IOs, a lot of the organizations that I work with have a very heavily number of Spanish speaking staff
Mm-hmm.
from various cultures. So then when they're getting trained, they get this generic translated packet of the same information, which sometimes doesn't make sense and it's not translated well, or it's like a Google Translate just dumped it in there and then got something back, and they don't know because they don't speak Spanish, right? So then they're just
Mm-hmm.
handing out these packets. I feel like as IOs, we have also the responsibility to have these conversations and say it's not really accessible. It doesn't really make sense, and you're not really doing yourself any favors by not giving people the right information. If they don't understand it, like you're saying, if we read something that we have no clue what it means, it's just
Mm-hmm.
as bad as giving it to us in English, right? So
Exactly.
that you miss out on that experience from the staff, the employees, and their experience, because then it feels like we've been left out. Yeah, there was an effort to give us some translated materials, but then it doesn't really make sense. So was there?
Yeah, sometimes it feels like it was rushed.
Mhm,
And here in Houston, I already saw that I I went the other day to Panda Express, and
mhm,
all the employees were Mexican. All the employees were Mexican, and all were they speak Spanish, English, but between they 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 were speaking Spanish, and Panda is like a American uh, company. So that you're mentioning is very important too.
yeah. Yeah, because that's especially in the US, and I feel like anywhere else, because that happens too. Like in Mexico, we get a lot of American written materials or documents or books, whatever. So then when it's
Mhm.
translated, sometimes it makes sense, and sometimes there's this disconnection that doesn't, it's not culturally relevant. So then you get into this weird space of, this is what this culture thinks it's okay in the organizational aspect, but here in Mexico, it doesn't really make sense because of the cultural differences. So it's definitely super interesting, but I'm glad that you were able to create a space to talk about these things in a different language and just really bring that for everybody else who may feel like, yes, we need this so we can learn from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the space. And it was a pleasure to meet you and spoke to you
Of course, thank you.
today.
It was lovely talking to you as well. I hate to cut it short. I think we definitely got everything that we wanted to get out there.
Yeah.
Um, we can definitely continue talking if you want to come and join us again. I'll check in with you in a couple months and say, hey, do you want to come and tell us how it's going? I think it's a very awesome opportunity for anyone who's interested in expanding their skills and becoming comfortable in writing or speaking or just sharing their thoughts and understanding how IO plays a role. And if you speak Spanish and you want to be part of the community and making this accessible and just bringing in your thoughts, please reach out to Marieli and let us know. Let your light shine.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have all the information there. And if you saw this video later, so know that you can find me in LinkedIn by Mariela Rodriguez, or you can email me at sebocespanol@gmail.com, or subscribe to the newsletter seboc.com/Spanish.
Awesome. And we'll go ahead and post this after the call. Marieli, thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day and enjoy Houston.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.